Where do I begin? Grew up in the suburbs of Metro Detroit. Christian household. Family raised me up that way. Came to the Lord in a church service through a Bible invitation. Best decision I ever made in my life. So I became a child of God, but unfortunately not long after that I became a child of the world as well. Started getting around some people that weren't any good for me. Got involved in drugs in my early teenage years, using them, even a little bit of selling them, not very successfully, and later on leading to an oxycodone addiction that nearly took my life. And I remember one day feeling hopeless and broken, going to the edge of a driveway and just praying to God that He would help me out of it. A couple days later, God answered that prayer, and my dad asked me, "Do you want to move to Illinois?" And so I said, "Okay, let's go to Illinois." And so I went there, and it was long enough for the year that I was there to get away from some people that were no good for me in my life and completely give my life back over to the Lord, but I was getting back on track. And I remember that my dad ended up telling me about a year and a half later that he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That was the hardest year of my life. And when 8 months passed by, I remember the fateful day when he was in hospice care and just being there and just feeling like I was losing my hero, my crutch, my guy that I could always trust in, and the one that I love so much in this world. And I remember there was a man there that day, and I didn't know who he was. He said he met my dad at a picnic. Nobody knew who he was. And it was weird because everybody else kind of didn't know this was going to happen until the last minute, but somehow he knew to be there. And I just remember him being there and taking care of us all day. And at the end of the day, when he prayed a prayer that was supernatural. I was bawling my eyes out. My dad was slipping away. He was dying. And I just remember when he's about to take his last breath and the guy finishes praying, I walked over to my dad on the bed. He opened his eyes up one more time and he looked at me. And it was almost like he nodded in his eyes. And he slipped away. I went, said goodbye to all my family and looked for the guy, and when I walked outside of the doors, he was gone. No one was there. When I left different that day. I walked away and I made a decision that I was going to try to make my life come back to the Lord. I lived my life trying to figure it out the way that I wanted to do it for the longest time, but I realized the world didn't have anything to offer, and the only place that really did was Jesus.